Alright you guys, so I'm going to be talking about why you should pull for Yoimiya. Do not skip Yoimiya whatsoever. At least I'm going to give the reasons in this video why you shouldn't skip her. In another video I'll talk about reasons why you should. So first of all, of course, in the event we had our opportunity to play as her, try her out with different team comps, things of that nature. And what we found out is something that a lot of other people have pointed out, which is Vaporize doesn't really work that well unless you're up close, and even then it's a bit iffy simply because she just kind of procs off fires too quickly. Her attack speed is very high, so Vape doesn't work all that well. Or Overlord with Beidou does work really well, but sometimes sends the enemies flying and you're kind of having to chase after them, which could be a bit annoying. Of course, if you're dealing with something like Spiral Abyss or larger enemies, then you're not going to have to worry about that whatsoever. Maybe even like boss enemies, okay? So that's something that you really want to take note of, because the Beidou and the Yoimiya strat seems to work out really well. Now, as for, well, at least with certain enemies. Now, one other thing you want to take note of is that in gacha games, they tend to do stuff like this, right? Where they release a character and initially you're thinking to yourself, man, there's no other character that meshes well with this character, so I'm just going to skip out on them. And then in the near future, they end up releasing a character that meshes well with that last character that you skipped out on. So for right now, you might not find a character that blends perfectly well with Yoimiya. But in the near future, in a typical gacha strategy, you might later on see a character and think to yourself, man, I wish I would have never skipped on Yoimiya. Okay, so that's just something to take note of. Of course, for right now, we can't really get a good gauge on her damage output simply because the artifact set was a bit wonky. Plus, she had 3 constellations, so a lot of people thought that kind of canceled each other out. Other people felt like no, it didn't fairly cancel each other out. So we're just gonna have to wait until we get the opportunity to play as her, build her the way that we think she should be built. Overall, I do think she'll be a viable character for single target situations, and I do also want people to understand that elemental reactions might not be her thing, simply in the same way that it's not Hu Tao's main thing. Right? People aren't trying to get Vaporize or Overload going with Hu Tao. No, they're just trying to get the damage going. So for that reason, you know, don't kind of hold that over her head. Instead, give her kind of a fair chance. I'm not saying you need to 100% pull for her, but pay very close attention to her and other people who get an opportunity to play as her, because she may be one of those characters that you regret skipping out on down the line. So this isn't one of those easy skip situations. This is one of those situations that you really want to take a deep look at, okay?